Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Wow, this is weird. Okay. Hello, kids. Welcome back to another week of the Capes and Lunatics. First week of September, so there's only 2 of us, but this is our first week of our Marvel anniversaries. So before we get to that, I am Phil, and like I said, Lilith will be away for the month of September. But of course, here as always, that traveling man, it is
Charlie, the Professor Essa. Yes, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but I'm still here. Just saying.
He's on work release.
I'm on a secret mission for the government.
That's right.
Anyway, hey, Philip, how are you?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. We don't have as many people to introduce this week.
I know.
But that's okay, because we've got a lot to get to, Philip.
Yeah, because, we, yes, you and I discussed, we're doing character, well, basically spotlights on characters who all have anniversaries this year. We kind of switch up the order in honor of this week's new Thunderbolts #1. Yes, we're going to be talking about Thunderbolts 21 through 25 from, 1998, 1999.
Yeah, and I'm torn, Philip. I'm torn. Do we talk about the old Thunderbolts first, or do we talk about the new Thunderbolts first? Because, oh man, there's a lot of overlap.
I mean, unless we want to talk, just take the whole episode and just jump back and forth. I don't care. However you want to.
I mean, well, honestly, there's only 2 points. Let's start with the old Thunderbolts. Let's give people the thing. And I'm going to be honest with you. I had a weird problem when I was reading these. I'm reading them on Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah.
I'd read a few and then I'd go back, but because of the way that they're stacked in Marvel Unlimited, I'm like, wait a minute, why am I 4 issues ahead? And it's like, oh, because I actually clicked on that next issue, but not the issue I thought was the next issue. So I had to go back and catch up.
What?
But,
were you on your phone or your tablet?
Oh, I don't have a tablet.
Okay, were you on your phone?
This.
Okay, because
I'm on my phone. Yeah.
Okay, well, no, because I've noticed that not lately, but I know a while back I noticed where it was doing that weird order thing, and if I looked at it on my phone, but if I looked at it on the tablet, it was in order.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a glitch they have on the, if you're looking at it on a phone.
Yeah, on my phone it goes the older issue to the newest issue.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I can hit a button on my phone to make it reverse that, but it can get confusing. But in our first one, Hawkeye is he's being a pretentious a-hole as usual, which is honestly here's my thing. Here's my honest. Oh, Mom bought you the shark head too, huh? Okay, we went to the aquarium today, and that was something that my child, who shall remain nameless, found and was very excited about. And now, as you can see, it's over my shoulder.
Kids, watch.
Do you want to be the third person in the podcast, child?
Watch the YouTube video, kids.
No, the child's just going to do that. Anyway, so that's going to be something that occurs during the podcast. We're going to have a Muppet over my shoulder. Anyway, I mean, I could hit the child, but that would be wrong. So
evidence. Anyway,
what? That it's wrong? Do you think it's okay to hit your child, Phil? I mean, what kind of a horrible father are you, Philip?
Well, and proof. Well, you don't want it on video, Charlie Esser.
Well, yes. And now you're on the podcast, child. So the exact thing you were trying to avoid to maintain your anonymity. Anyway. I know. Why don't you go out the other room and close the door?
Okay, but before I go,
shark has a tongue now. The shark does. Oh, I see. So yes, you can push your thumb under the latex, and it gives the shark a tongue. So wonderful. Tristan's having fun with his street sharks, and we'll move on from there. Moving right along, Philip. So this issue opens up. Which issue is this?
21 was 21.
21. Yeah. This is one with, of course, Songbird on the cover.
Yeah.
She's quite upset about everything. That's a running gag for her, quite frankly, being quite upset about everything. And it's not that she hasn't had a hard life. Let's be honest here. We're going to see that she has had a very hard life before she got in with the grapplers. Very sad to see that. It seems to imply that Pound Cakes is dead as we go through her backstory.
Oh, yeah. But again, how often do these characters stay dead?
I know, but that was the thing. That was actually a thing. Since you brought it up, I was hoping that because you pointed out that one of the other members of the girl grapplers was Titania, which opens up this possibility that that is the Titania that She-Hulk is facing in the MCU right now. The Titania from Secret Wars, or is it the Titania from the girl grapplers? And it was an open question. And then I thought, well, wouldn't it be neat if they would introduce Screaming Mimi or Pound Cakes or someone else like that? But, but then seeing that Pound Cakes is dead, it just to me, it made it creepy,
Yeah.
If we were to introduce a character who we already know is dead. That's just me being me on that subject. But yeah, she is going through some stuff. She doesn't like Hawkeye. She is very mad about what the Thunderbolts are even supposed to do. And so as I understand this, they realize that Baron Zemo was in fact trying to take over the world. Zemo.
Well, they always knew that Zemo was trying to take over the world, but after a while they were just like, nah. After playing Thunderbolts for a while, they were like, nah, I think we'd rather do this than try to take over the world.
Well, yeah, and honestly, I also kind of feel like there's that I'm going to take over the world kind of thing that supervillains say, that their henchmen like, you go, boss, you take over that world. And it's like, maybe we might take over New York City. It's like, because I think that henchmen understand better than supervillains the administrative nightmare of taking over a planet is. And it's like, it's like at a certain point, you're like, oh man, do you really want to deal with the union sanitation schedule? Because, you're really in trouble if you just think you can just fire all the garbage men, or even just kill all the garbage men. You're an idiot if you think that. Okay. So it's like, you need that labor force in place to take care of things, Zemo.
And two, are the Thunderbolts just like, you know what? I'm an a-hole, but do I really want to be an a-hole working for a Nazi?
Yeah, and he's a Nazi. And as much as the MCU wants to say he's not a Nazi,
a long family tradition, yes.
He's a freaking Nazi. Oh man! Well, when we get to our Captain America books this week, I got some stories to tell you about Baron Zemo.
Speaking of Zemo, stay tuned for Avengers Declassified this week. Yeah.
Wow. Look at those two brown-haired people having a blonde-haired child. Well, that's none of my business. Just saying, Philip.
But no, the whole story with these issues, we were going to do the first couple, but I said, why don't we do these? Because, to go along with the new Thunderbolts #1 this week, issue 21 kind of was the point where Hawkeye steps in and says, oh, hey, do you guys really, really want to reform? He's like, let me lead you. I'll get your shot at redemption, maybe get to clear your records at some point.
And again, like I said, to me, the difference between MCU Hawkeye and comics Hawkeye is comics Hawkeye, he stinks of flop sweat. He is real desperate. And it's problematic in its own way. It's like, It's like, I was like, I'm even trying to think here. This is not after he's already abandoned the Great Lakes Avengers. It's like this guy, like he forms a team, then he runs away. He wants to be Captain freaking America, and he is always short of that. You know who he is? Oh man! Oh, and dang it, we don't have a little here for it. He is the Reggie of the Marvel universe, because it's not like he's a bad person.
Yeah,
but he is always living his life in comparison to the Archie of the Marvel universe, who is Captain America. And he's like, I'll form my own superhero team, or I'll make these guys better, And it's like, oh, Reggie Hawkeye, no. You are so not the person to do this right now. You're not that good at it. At least that's my opinion, Philip. What's yours?
I mean, at that point in the late 90s, I mean, they're playing him as the arrogant one, and it's basically like, you know what, I'm eventually gonna wear people, because even the government, they showed a flashback. They're like, no, we're not giving the Thunderbolts any kind of deal, and he's just like thinking, oh, I'll just, I'll wear him down. Eventually, I'll get that deal.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He is totally Eddie Haskell-ing it, and who was the inspiration or that was inspired by Reggie? Similarly, it's like, I'll totally deal with these people after the fact, once I redeems them in the view of the people. And I don't know if that really works. I'm also super confused by the Crimson Cowls revelation at the end of this.
You know what? It's even super confusing, because it's not her. The real cow teleported out and teleported her in the framer. So it's even more confusing.
Oh man! Now, so here's a weird thing: is part of me was thinking that this was going to be the Ultron Crimson Cowl again, but no, it's not. No. Honestly, I don't know. And it's hard to say that I care, Phil. I'm going to be honest with you. It's hard to say that I care.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time since I read some of these, but I think it might be. Do you remember that flashback Moonstone had to her childhood and the rich girl she hung out? I think it was the rich girl. I'm pretty,
the rich girl.
I'm trying to remember. I think that's why they threw that flashback kind of sort of in there. Yeah,
which made sense. Which is when I'm reading, I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be the rich girl. And then it's like, what? It's not the rich girl. It's this other person we've seen previously.
Like I said, it's been a long time. It's hard to remember. I'm pretty sure eventually it's the rich girl. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's weird about that is that then the lady isn't like, no, man, I was literally just teleported in.
I know.
What the heck just happened? It's not like,
Dallas,
I'm not talking to you or anybody.
She has a chip on her shoulder. No, I mean, it's even weirder.
F you all.
Unless she's just trying to keep her secrets, because I believe, the female Citizen V, that's her.
Oh, this is the female Citizen V. Okay. Yeah. So is she I don't remember who the original was. Citizen V in 40s hero?
Yeah, it was a 40s hero. There might have been a few people who were Citizen V, because that's the thing. It was several people who fought Nazis, and then that's the ultimate slap in the face, because when Zemo takes the identity and uses it. Yeah.
But Zemo, I'm sure even now, Zemo says, I'm not a Nazi. I'm just better than all of you people. So let me create my fascist dictatorship. Thank you.
You know what? His father was a Nazi, and so I guess eventually they tacked that onto him too, because it's like they needed to give him something to do. Because as we'll talk about on the Avengers episode, I mean, his first couple appearances, all he wanted was revenge on Captain America.
Yeah, but again, it's here's the thing, Philip. If you're using Nazi gold to fund your revenge for your Nazi father, you're kind of a Nazi.
Oh, your father died while all Naziing. Oh.
Yeah, well, and not for nothing. And here's the real trick of it. It's like, it's not like his father suddenly stopped being a Nazi. It's not like his father said, man, I got my mask glued to my face. This was a bad day for me.
Because didn't he die?
Maybe I should stop being a Nazi.
Because didn't the father die in some of those early Avengers issues? Almost even if he wasn't being straight up Nazi. He was still being a supervillain.
Well, he was totally supervillaining, and plotting his revenge against Captain America. Even though it's sort of like maybe you should have said, wow, man, Captain America, he did splash me with those chemicals, but you know what? I was part of a megalomaniacal war machine exploiting slave labor to make that chemical as well. So maybe there are good and bad people on both sides here. Maybe we can work this out, Steve. I know you've been on ice for 40 years, but I've had 40 years to think about this. Maybe I shouldn't be so obsessed.
I won't draw any real world comparisons here, but I love when the Nazis being all Nazi, then all of a sudden Captain America slaps him in the face. It's like, why are you being so mean to me?
Yes. Oh. Wait, was that from the Captain books or from this?
Pretty much any Zemo. It's like,
yeah. Well, Zemo's always like, stop being mean to me.
Because
he's not for nothing.
Especially this one, he's just like, why are you harassing my family? Well, your father was a Nazi. You're up the crap every 2 seconds.
Well, because he's a bad person, Philip.
Oh yeah,
he's a bad person.
Well, I'm just saying, you caught the bad person, and they're like, "Why are you so mean to me?"
Yeah, well, because you're a bad person, and no one was looking for you. No one was trying to cause you problems, Zemo. You caused the problems yourself. Anyway, yeah. So, Hawkeye convinces the Thunderbolts to let him lead them
on one condition.
Well, first off, they have to get Songbird, because she's like, I'm not having any of this, and I'm in a very bad mood. She flies off.
Yeah.
Abe goes to save her, but his equipment's all damaged already. And they clearly have a connection.
Mm-hmm.
Abe has a connection with Songbird. This is, if nothing else, this is the story of the Thunderbolts. It's a bunch of broken people trying to see if their parts fit together, No, not in that way. I mean, we're all broken in different ways, but maybe we can fit together and be a whole person with our broken parts. And I do feel that that's a lot of it. I mean, in its own ways, I kind of feel that's what Marsha Rosenberg and Owen Reese had, where they're two very broken people, but you know what? When they hugged, that made everything better. They could see the universe through each other's eyes, and it was a good thing. But yeah, so that's Abe. I love the fact that even as Karla Sofin goes through this, and this is interesting because at no point does Karla, and this is over many years and many iterations of this, because she eventually becomes the Ms. Marvel of the Dark Avengers.
Yeah.
At no time does she stop seeing herself both as a villain, but a villain willing to do good, to not be seen as a villain, and who will advise people, and that's not a good look for us if we're going to do this.
I mean, I don't know if she ever goes fully good, or I don't know if she was ever fully evil. It's always just like, what's in my best interest.
Well, that is the definition of evil, though.
Yeah.
In truth, there is. I mean, you can argue that there's an evil that is just trying to cause suffering for others.
Yeah, just for the pure enjoyment of it, which I don't think she has. It's I'd say selfishness and stuff,
Yeah, although I don't think that she would be upset about watching someone get tortured. That's the thing. I think that at best should be nonplussed about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, well, whatever, you do you, man. It's not my place to kink shame you. But I think that from most perspectives, she is, it's all about how do I support myself? How do I enrich myself?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really care at whose cost that is. And to me, that is evil.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can put a cherry on it and say someone else is more evil, but until you're willing to actually sacrifice yourself, you don't actually cross into good. So, like, you know, and as an example, you know, I mean, I think that there are aspects of things where people do stop and say, you know what, I am going to oppose this because this is a line I won't cross. I think you need a line you won't cross when you actually become a good guy. I don't think Carla ever actually comes across a line she won't cross. I think at every moment it's just, how do I get to the next point? How do I get to the next thing?
Oh yeah, if it benefits her, I don't think there's a line she won't cross.
Exactly. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Is my
No.
Anyway, moving on to issue 2. It has been decided that Abe should go to jail.
Yes,
because he wants to kill the guy. Because, and again, oh, the self-righteousness of this Hawkeye act. This axhole, you know.
Oh,
I said axe.
I know.
I pronounced the X in it. You know, as if someone hits an axe in a wall and there's a hole now, and that's an axe hole. And this guy is an axe hole. If you're ever going to meet one, this is like Axhole Foley from Beverly Hills Cop 1. No, actually, he was a nice guy. Probably like it's more to be more of an axhole in 2 and 3. But moving right along, you know, because we all know eventually Hawkeye's like, yeah, let's kill Norman Osborn. Let's just kill people. And it's like, what? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, he's like, no, I realize now why superheroes kill. Yeah, that's a good idea. And I guess, you know what? And to be fair, he never had a Joker. He never had a villain who was so evil, like aggressively evil, like actually even evil to the point of self-cultish evil, which means it doesn't matter if it benefits him so long as suffering occurs. And it's like, oh, okay. That's someone that maybe we need to drop off a building or simply put into a very secure facility. Well, and in fact, as one could say, maybe Bruce Wayne should have invested in a more secure Arkham Asylum.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and when you have characters who are around for decades and you get different writers, you kind of get that the characters almost seem like they change moods. But again, too, I believe, I'm trying to remember, I think the writer who might have had Hawkeye say, oh, hey, let's go kill Norman Osborn, may have been, Bendis. You know.
No, I know that. But here's the thing. I don't fault Bendis for that.
Yeah.
Because here's my thing with it. Like when you start deconstructing Hawkeye, it's very easy for him to judge other people and their actions. When suddenly he has to make the choice, I think he's going to make the choice to be an awful human being. Because let's not forget, this man is a carny. And, you know, no offense to the carnies in our audience. I love carnies. I wish I could learn your noble trade. But the man is a person who has lived his whole life hard scrabble and hand to mouth. And at a certain point, he's like, well, no, obviously, if someone is a threat to me and mine, I'm going to kill him, you know? But it's a difference for me when I do it because I'm the one making that moral judgment. But anyone else who makes that choice, including my recently attacked wife, I'm going to be really judgy about it because I'm not a very nice person.
And too, I mean, it's after he died and Avengers Disassembled and got brought back by the Scarlet Witch. So it's like,
yeah.
You know.
So he is, and I guess at that point, maybe it's even like, what does death even mean for our kind? You know, at a certain point, it might be like, oh, this isn't the first time he's died.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's just kill him again. If it gives us a couple of years to sort things out, at least we killed him once. At least we stopped him here. And whether or not killing him takes, that's not my business to judge. It's like he killed Wolverine. It's like, well, I sure as heck killed Wolverine, didn't I? You know, for a week or two.
And I also took that as like, like I said, it's Bendis. Like I was saying, I don't know if he always delivers the message clearly. I took it as, oh hey, look how bad the situation is. Even I, Hawkeye, am saying, hey, let's kill this guy.
Yeah, and that's a fair cop too. Although I guess that's always that issue. That's the funny thing about comic books is they do stuff. They try to really exaggerate reality. And then it's like comic books and onion writers, they're just trying to stay ahead of it. It's like, oh, how am I going to satire human society when human society just keeps on saying, oh, that's a good suggestion. Thanks, comic book writer. Oh, you get bold. So anyway, moving on to the next issue here, we have.
Oh wait, but no, you skipped over in that second issue. Hercules comes looking for Atlas because he remembers the beating he gave him when the Masters of Evil stormed the.
Okay, can I just stop for a minute? And like Hercules had brain damage after that.
I think so. I mean, I don't know if he was. I think he was in a coma for a while, and when he came out of it, I don't know if he was.
I don't know. It is what it is. But man, this guy's, I guess, we need someone that can make Hawkeye look like a rational leader. Bring in Hercules. Oh man. Also, I did like the statement that, the next we meet, Hawkeye, we will not be friends. I wonder if that ever got followed up on.
I don't think so.
Or if the next one they're like, oh, you know me, I was drunk then. You know me, Hawkeye, I'm a real angry drunk. So,
I'm a god, we exaggerate.
Yes, that's how we keep the story going. But as it is, he
no, Hawkeye stands up to him and says, no, I just told these guys that, heroes don't kill. So you're going to make me a liar. And he just gets in Hercules' face and doesn't flinch until Hercules walks away. Yeah. I don't even Moonstone's like, she goes, wait, did he set that up? She's like, oh wait, Hercules isn't that good of an actor.
Yeah. Well, and, because although I like the fact that she's willing to consider that Hawkeye might be that smart.
Yes.
It's like, because, she's good enough to say, I don't want to underestimate Hawkeye, but I don't think that Hercules could have sold this as well as he did. Although the fact of the matter is that Hercules wanted to get revenge against Atlas makes perfect sense. Oh, yeah. And so his willingness to smack people around makes sense. And I do love the slight misogyny of Hercules, as a Greek god would not be interesting in surrendering to three women. Although within that entire concept, I think there is the argument that, I don't know. I kind of feel like Moonstone as a Captain Marvel villain probably could have done a lot more damage.
Oh yeah.
I think she's mostly holding back.
Yeah.
I think that's really her point here is like she's always holding back because she knows she's like the powerhouse of the team, but she doesn't want other people knowing she's the powerhouse of the team. That's my own theory on this. Oh, I'm so waiting for my MCU Carlos Sothen. Oh, but I did love her backstory on this because I don't know if we ever got that before. I don't know if that's been established that she was like.
I think that was the first, yeah.
The daughter of the butler, which I thought was really cool. Mm-hmm. But and of course it makes sense that if you had that live-in butler and maid combo, they'd be in the house and they'd have the child and all that stuff. But it's a little weird in its own right too. But that's future episodes. Do you want to go to? Well, that's where I think that's where we get to Zero, right? Is when we get that backstory.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and we get the backstory. Everyone's in the hotel, which is weird because they don't actually explain how they can afford the hotel or why they're staying in the hotel. They make the reference that, this will be the last time we do this. It's not like we can knock over a bank anytime we want to stay in a nice hotel again. Which immediately opens up this question, like, are they, like, using bank heist funds to pay for this?
From years ago, maybe.
I suppose. Does that make it right? And then, of course, Hydra Attacks, because Hydra does. And again, I like how they get out of it, which is literally just saying,
Bluffing.
"Oh no, you know, you can arrest the Thunderbolts, but then all these Hydra agents will get away. Well, you're trying to arrest us, you know." But I mostly like the moment when, again, Carla Soffin, who I really think is, to me, Carla Soffin, Moonstone, is the heart of the Thunderbolts.
I know, they should have put her in the new one. Or
yeah, well, she's hard to work in because she is she's like Loki. You know, you can't just stick her in places because at the end of the day, she's an irredeemable sociopath.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, but you know what? She's actually kind of cool. And she is like the one thing that tends to tie all the Thunderbolts teams together. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And giving her that redemption arc, the way they gave Loki a redemption arc, I think can theoretically work. Because she's smart enough that if she meets enough people, she's going to not want to see people suffer.
Yeah.
Who she can identify with. You know, and it's like, and it's weird to say that, but it's like, you know, well, I never met a person like you before, and oh, I guess another person that could be like you as a decent human being. I guess I have to be a hero now. You know. And to be fair, it's like even when she murders people, it's usually it's usually in the context of, you know, people that they're in conflict with, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, if you're just some rando, she may not care if randos die in the collateral, but she's probably gonna start to feel a little weird when we start shooting people like, you know, point blank range.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of these issues, even before Hawkeye comes in and after. I mean, it seems like she always had like a soft spot for Jolt.
Yeah, well, you know, because she's a kid, and you know, not for nothing, you know, when you're an adult and you meet a smaller person who is also a supervillain, you want to sort of say, "Okay, kid, listen, I've been a supervillain a long time. You want to be the graybeard. You want to be the one who says, 'Listen, kid, I know you want to run in there like this. Let me tell you how to play the long game.'" And for what it's worth, you know, Carla Soffin is all about the long game. You know, I would love to see old lady Moonstone someday in one of the later, you know, getting to these apocalyptic stories. Because that's the thing. I don't think she's dead. You know, I think because she's got that Moonstone in her. I think she's always going to be around.
Or you do the thing. What if the Moonstone keeps her young? It's like, you know, it's like 100 years later, everyone she knows is dead, but she's still young. She still looks the same. She hasn't aged.
Yes. Yeah. Young Lady Moonstone. Oh, that would be a great book. Young Lady Moonstone. In the apocalyptic world, and then you can just like, why the heck did Doom have to blow up the whole freaking planet? I mean, really? It's like, oh well, who'd want to rule this world anymore? It's like, well, clearly you did, you Schmendrick.
Just her going off, be like, all these male supervillains, no subtlety to any of them.
Really and for true, yes. You know. That's the problem, Philip.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so moving right along, we get to, which is this Zero issue. What comes after Zero?
23 with U.S. Agent.
Oh, U.S. Agent. My good friend Hawkeye. Don't you be speaking ill of him. He's my best friend. Oh, U.S. Agent. He just wants to be loved. He wants to be part of the team. Even though the last time they met, it was actually just a fight. But you see, that's the thing for poor old U.S. Agent. He thinks that means that we're friends now.
We were on the same team for a while.
We were on the same team for 5 minutes, and then you got mad I was there, and we had to fight for it, and I beat you. But then we're best friends, right? And I love Hawkeye's line in this, like, you know, I would say I would think you were above joining up with a group of proto-fascists, but I know that's not the case. You know, it's like, yeah, this is exactly the kind of group of people he would hang out with.
Oh, I thought you were going to say him referring to his Super Patriot days, going, "Hey, Jack, you fake any fights lately?"
That. Yeah, well, you know. Although in this one, and again, that's an interesting fun fact for those out there that at this point he thinks his name is Jack Daniels, not James Beam, which is its own brand of silliness. That his name was a brand of liquor, but they made it into a different brand of liquor. I'm surprised his name was in Chivas Regal, quite frankly. But yeah, it's because they did the mind manipulation like they did with poor old Steve Rogers last episode.
No.
Well, we're over there at Avengers Declassified when we declassified the fact that, you know, Steve Rogers actually is from Brooklyn.
Yes.
Big surprise. Oh, where was I? So Jack Attacks and him and his team, who he's also trying to bring together. Although I'm very confused because this is, I guess, a billionaire named Edward Cord has created his own superhero team to attack other supervillains.
I think this is. I think they were originally I think this was originally the Jury, and originally they were going after Venom.
Okay, but can I just first off, can we just step back and say, oh, Edward Cord, Ted Cord.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there, Marvel. You guys do this all the time, and it's cute. It's cute. Although in this one, he's hiring his own team of super beings. But at the same time, I'm like, who is regulating this? Who is saying he's a billionaire? I guess he can create a team of supervillains. I mean, superheroes. I'm sorry, to go after supervillains. That seems fair. Meanwhile, these poor Thunderbolts are doing the exact same thing. It's just people figured out they used to be supervillains. So, but again, who do you hire for your superhero team? Who, aside from supervillains, you know, that's the thing. It's like it's a little weird seeing them fight since they're basically the same concept. The only difference is that one of them was run by Zemo, a bona fide actual Nazi. So, whereas Cord is just a billionaire industrialist.
You know what? Technically, I mean, again, they are not good people, but I think technically they aren't super villains. I think it was just, you know, oh, let's slap some guys in some suits and hey, let's go beat on some super.
Do they have the right? Do they have the power of the law supporting them, Philip?
I don't think, but I'm just saying, it's not. Like,
I know, but that's kind of a see.
I know. I agree.
This is the moment where She-Hulk.
I agree with you.
Just puts her hand down and say, "That's not how law works."
But they'll be like, "We don't have any records. What about the rest? What about the Thunderbolt?"
And again, I don't care, but you're still not allowed to go and do these things, you crazy people. Anyway, kids today, Philip.
But Tony Stark did it.
I know, and that wasn't good. And you know what? Honestly, that he got away with it mostly had to do with with the fact that A, no one knew it was him, and B, which is also one of those weird things. I mean, I would love to have seen Iron Man get arrested. You're technically not allowed to be a superhero, but and that's also that vague area, and I guess this is also how we can imagine that legal precedents have evolved within the Marvel Comics universe, is that in the 60s, there wasn't technically a law against putting on a body armor and beating up supervillains. And if no one was causing problems for it, when someone else did it, you were suddenly at a point where it was like, well, I mean, that guy that Tony Stark employs, he does that all the time. Should we really be judgmental? Maybe we should accept this as part of the legal precedence.
Well, and I mean, I forget when they finally brought that in, but remember, if you're a member of the Avengers, you have what, UN or United States government clearance or whatever. So,
well, the Avengers eventually get that.
Yes.
But long before that. But but that's sort of the thing, is like up until most recently, when Wilson Fisk outlawed costumed heroes in New York. I mean, although it wasn't always admissible in court, Spider-Man was always allowed to, capture people. And if the police could make it stick, they could make it stick, Oftentimes they couldn't because, well, okay, it's great. But, and again, much like everything else, it's like, well, this delays it. We're going to say, okay, we're going to kill Norman Osborn. He'll be back, I know. But you know what? At least it stops it for now. So if we've stopped the Vulture, the jewels have gone back to the people who needed the jewels, whatever billionaire owned the jewels. We can call it a day, and at least, this septuagenarian has learned his lesson for now. But as we move forward, you need more rigorous laws, which is why we have Goodman, Lieber, and Kurtzberg. And Holloway, I guess. I guess he's a partner now. Oh, moving right along. So after we trick the Nazis into thinking that now I have all your secrets, Horst, it's like, how did you know my name? Yes, it's like, because I actually heard it from someone else earlier. But, don't mind me, Horst. Just tell your friends I knew your name, and that's how it's...
I can read your mind. And she just dips her hand in his head.
Which I love, by the way. It's very impressive. And that brings us up to the next issue, which I believe is when the new Citizen V comes to attack. And who's the threat in that one?
Well, 24 and 25 is Crimson Cow and her Masters of Evil.
Oh, yes, that's right. The Masters of Evil. Oh, that's right, because 25 is 25 supervillains. We counted. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a lot of fighting. I still don't know anyone's motivation. I don't know why the White Gorilla's there. It just seems like you got a bunch of people that are just there saying, you want to fight some superheroes? And it's like, well, I guess I don't have a choice in this, even though I have my own, place to rule and people to lead. And I guess your petty vendettas seems like a good enough reason for me to be here as well. And same with Claw.
I don't know. I mean, Crimson Cow was offer, I don't know, benefits, 401k. I don't know, but something.
I don't know. It just seems like that's a lot of supervillains to hire in a very eclectic group. It's not like they were all like, like here's the thing. Like I can get like, oh, we got the Wrecking Crew. Where Wrecking Crew are hired thugs. There's 5 of them. That's a fifth of what you need. If you had thrown in like the Death Throws and a few other villains and heroes here and there, people like, you could even throw in the Champion of the Universe because he likes to fight. Throw in a few people who are just there for the brawl. I think you've got something. But like to me, like White Gorilla is like the one guy that I'm like, I don't know if that works. I don't know if that.
There's a lot of deep dives here. Maybe Crimson Cow got them cheap. But there's one. Oh, what's his face? He looks like a boxer. That's like an Eric Masterson villain.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I mean, Kurt Busiek did some deep dives on some of these guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so it all comes to a head, and then we get the big, oh, my friend from my friend from when I was a child. I remember her so fondly, and something about what she said reminded me of her. But now we will see who is the Crimson Cowl. Old Man McWithers. What? No. It wasn't Tim Conway, as it turns out. It was, in fact, Riordan.
Yeah, Dallas Riordan, who had been the mayor's liaison when the Thunderbolts first hit the scene. She started a relationship with Atlas. Then when they were revealed as supervillains, her career and her life basically got ruined. So that's why she hates
she's
the
very
Thunderbolts.
mad about all of this, and that she got stuck in this again is very frustrating to her. And so she's not going to make any explanations here. She's going to say, well, it's not your business why I'm the Crimson Cowl. So, no.
Like I said, unless she doesn't want to give away the secret she's Citizen V, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, really. And not for nothing, if you were to suddenly say to a bunch of superheroes, no, I'm not Crimson Cowl, I was suddenly teleported into this costume, I think a lot of superheroes would be like, wait, is that a possibility? Could this completely fantabulous statement be true? I think a lot of superheroes would go like, well, I mean, really?
The Thunderbolts, if no one else, I think, would understand. Oh, hey, I've been framed. I've been misunderstood. Come on.
Hawkeye, if no one else.
Oh, misunderstandings. Yes.
Like, no, I was trying to stop the jewel thieves. See, had Hawkeye actually murdered that jewel thief, instead of just hitting him in the coat, but just totally like pierced his shoulder and like pinned him to the wall, it would have been clear who the jewel thief was. Because I was like, oh my gosh, this man's been imprisoned. But you know what? Not for nothing. I think Hawkeye could actually severely wound criminals without actually killing them. And honestly, that is the dark what if I want to see. What if Hawkeye shot to wound?
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just all these criminals who are like, losing limbs. Like, I was a safecracker and he killed my right hand. I don't have a hand anymore. How am I going to crack safes?
Again, that's why him and Green Arrow back in the day, comics code. That's why they had trick arrows.
Well, no, I understand the comics. I'm just saying, like,
oh yeah, now, yeah.
Nowadays, we can like really get dark now, Philip. That's my point. We can go into that. What if he's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, ain't gonna kill you, but I know right where your artery is. I missed it. But you know what? You're pinned to that wall now, my friend.
No, we get the what if. The what if we need him. He partners up with Frank Castle.
No, because again, I think that's where it's interesting. Because I think that, either you get Frank Castle shooting to wound, which would be beautiful.
Yes.
No, we wound, we don't kill. It's like, no, I'm. Oh, what's that word? I forget when you bleed out. It's hype. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, like the royalties of Spain. Yeah, and it's just like, oh no, what? That shouldn't have killed him. It's like, no, he's a bleeder. He's bleeding. Oh, and now you're a horrible person, Hawkeye, and now you must deal with that. That's the dark twist at the end, kids, because that's how you saw the comic books. You want to talk about this week's
the new Thunderbolts #1. Yeah, because
new Thunderbolts #1 by our good friend Mr. Zub.
Yep.
And you're going to say, again, to get into this idea of like the difference between like the Hawkeye we see on TV and the Hawkeye in the comic books. Man, this guy is just desperation and flop sweat. But see, I can hit an arrow real good, right? Right, boss? You need someone to shoot arrows at things?
Well, in the beginning, he's thinking, "Oh, I should get the West Coast Avengers back together." But then Luke calls him and says, "Hey, I want you to like head the this new Thunderbolts team."
Yeah, and that's kind of cool in its own way. But then we see he didn't really want him to lead the Thunderbolts. No, he wanted Monica Rambeau.
Yes, because
who is now Spectrum.
Oh yeah, because we saw that in Devil's Reign Omega. Yeah, he asked her first, and she was like, "No, I don't want no parts of this."
No, because honestly, it's a sucker's game. But poor Luke Cage is now mayor, and he's got to deal with, like, You know, like so many politicians who come in after some complete incompetent ruined things and now has to fix things. I like the new Power Man being in this, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, but who is this? Is he like a mutant from the future?
You know what? I believe that's a new character, but yeah, doesn't he remind you of Cable with the glowing eye and the big gun?
Oh, he is totally. Well, he reminds me of what's his name from the X-Men cartoon.
Oh, Bishop.
Bishop, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're both from the future. Yeah.
I mean, these are definitely mutants from the future with glowing eyes. You know.
Well, you know what I was thinking at the end? It looks like he's trying to hold something back. I was like, wait a second, is this like Techno or Fixer, from the original team? Like in disguise or something? Because it's like, oh, hey, let me think. Soldier, look like Cable or Bishop or something. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I could absolutely see this being Techno or from the original team, and him just. And by the way, I do love Purple Girl. I love her coming back. I really thought they were going to bring her back earlier. With the last run. King Shark's back. Especially because she is so very what's what I'm looking for? Insanely powerful as a character. And again, the fact that Walker was was actually the guy on the inside for the FBI, was part of the escort, and Hawkeye just decides to attack him too, even though clearly he's the only one in his actual superhero costume. It's like, dude. And again, this is poor John Walker. He just wants to be Hawkeye's best friend.
Well, again, Hawkeye might have known, but it was just, oh, he was the man on the inside. Oops.
Well, yeah, but again, it's sort of like,
my bad.
But no, it's like, you don't do that. You don't do that, Hawkeye. I'm just saying Hawkeye is a menace. And why is J. Jonah Jameson not acting out against him? Oh, and of course, this is Electro. How do we defeat her? Oh, yeah, that's right. Spectrum defeats her. Because she is the freaking tank. Yeah. And that is the truth of it, is that, Spectrum is absolutely the tank of this team. And, Luke Cage is like, I wanted you to be here because you're my tank. Why aren't you being my tank? You think I wanted Hawkeye? Really? Just tell me the scenario. Would you think I'm going to go, Spectrum? Oh, well, let's ask Hawkeye. It's like no one asks Hawkeye to be on their team.
It's like, okay,
Hawkeye shows up, and then everyone's like, did we invite Hawkeye to be on the team? I don't remember that happening.
I asked Hawkeye. He was an Avengers leader, but Monica, you were a better Avengers leader, so I wanted you first.
Yeah, well, I mean, really. And no, I mean, I'm sorry. Do not tell me anyone thinks that Hawkeye was a better Avengers leader. No, not for nothing, Philip. He left the West Coast Avengers.
Oh, yeah.
Left them high and dry.
When John Walker showed up.
Anyway. You want to talk some indie comics real quick?
Sure. Throw them out.
Okay, I got to give a big shout out to American Mythology Presents The Stooge Wars.
Huh.
The Robonic Stooges, Phil, they're back in comic book form. And this time, no, don't get too don't get super excited until you see who the Lost Stooge returns is in this one. Robonic Shemp, Phil.
Wow.
Robonic Shemp. For those of you who remember, the Robonic Stooges were a very short-lived Saturday morning cartoon series that came out shortly after the death of the last Stooge, Mo Howard. I think Larry might have still been alive, but yeah, so that happened. And the plot line for this book is effectively Secret Wars, but with the Stooges and their Rogues Gallery.
Oh, jeez.
And you have such grand heroes as Captain Shower, Glass Mouse, and the Mandible, up against their typical rogues gallery, as well as some others. Oh, also, what's his name? He's got a TV head, but he repeats himself. You see, he's like a rerun or a recharacter. He duplicates, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, they're being dealt with by a Beyonder sort of character, and here he is. See, there he is, all in white, clad all in white, and he's going to give an amazing gift orb to whoever makes it. Oh, and of course, Curly gets a new suit, a little purple suit that's all sticky. I wonder where that's going to lead to. When they get the orb, they get a sandwich in classic The Big Change format, and they all go home and have a sandwich. So that's that, but I think more stories are coming. I am excited about the Stooge Wars and the return of the Robonic Stooges. If you know who the Robonic Stooges are, you're as happy as I am today. If you don't know who the Robonic Stooges are, you know what? I can't fault you for that because they existed in such a small window of time. It's like me and my older brother know who the Robonic Stooges are. You got another book, Phil?
The other one I really wanted, I'm going to save Ant-Man for Avengers, but the only one I wanted to throw out was Amazing Fantasy 1000. I mean, it was good. It's just a bunch of short Spider-Man stories in it. Yeah, it's oversized because it's a big anniversary issue, but I mean, it's
$10 too.
Yeah, it is. But it's
or
thick.
Is it $10? I forget. It was a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty thick, but yeah, there's a lot of stories in there. Like there's one where it's like, if it's set in the future and like a 60-year-old Spider-Man's fighting a young Vulture, and it's $8. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of good stories. There's a
$7.99 or $8.99, Phil?
$7.99.
Oh, okay. I should have gotten it then.
But no, it's good. And there's a story in here by Neil Gaiman, which is really good. There's a story with Spider-Man meets like a bunch of his Peter Parker meets a bunch of his variants from across like the multiverse, and he's like, why am I the only one with bad luck? 'Cause they make him think he's the only one with bad luck. Like, no, we all have bad luck. But yeah,
just don't whine about it so much, Peter.
Exactly. But no, it's just a bunch of fun Spider-Man stories. So yeah, Spider-Man fans picking
it does sound delightful. So my other indie comic of the week. Oh, by the way, just so you know, American Mythology Presents The Stooge Wars was, I guess, American Mythology Comics. I guess American Mythology Productions.
Yeah.
Oh, look, they're going to do a Three Stooges comic celebrating Curly in this winter. But yes, love my Robonic Stooges. And then from Scout Comics, $5.99 for this books, kids.
Ooh.
Indie books are no longer cheap. So they're like, you know what? We're just, everyone else is raising their price. Why don't we too? Let's see if our stories can beat them. And you know what? I'm going to tell you this. The Meta-Linguistics Crimes Division freaking does it. Honestly, and I know it's a cliched idea. It's something we've seen time and time again, which is, oh no, the meta beings have entered into the real world and yada yada yada, or the meta beings are dealing with their own things. And so the plotline follows like a sister who's a notable comic book writer and her brother who is not a notable comic book writer. Or not a notable writer, but who gives lectures on how to write. Because if you can't teach. Which, as much as we want to sit there and say is a negative, is actually a truth. That sometimes there are people who can understand all the mechanics of building something, but can't actually build something new themselves. They can take anything apart and put it back together and tell you exactly where each piece fits and why it goes there. But they could not, you said, but now make something new. They can't. And of course, we open up with a cartoon cat being attacked because someone from the meta-linguistics department is after this guy. And they're interrogating him using extreme force. But as the person says, look, Tom and Jerry rules apply. I can do whatever I want to this guy. and it's not going to kill him. It's not even going to hurt him permanently. It's just going to be really uncomfortable. So I'm going to do this until he admits that, yes, he is the one who killed the replacement for his cartoon, who was a freaking tabby. So I'm not racist, but man, a tabby. Meanwhile, the guy who is the brother of the sister goes to pitch a book, and they say, no, your book is awful. We would never publish this in a million years. But I like all of your ideas, but we don't like your story. It's bad. We then see that her husband is dating, I believe that's Paul S. Tompkins, who is her artist on her book. And then he gets all decapitated, as you do. And then her brother, when she looks at him, sees that he's in 3 colors. What? And then accidentally falls into the white space between the panels and gets attacked by the cops and yada, yada, yada. The Metalinguistics Crimes Division takes over. And wackiness, my friends, is about to ensue. So I'm very excited about 1. I will probably pick up 2. So that was a good book. And that is all I have to say about this week's comics, Phil. If you want to call it a night.
Yes, that's good. That's fine with me.
Okay, so Philip, how can we find you?
All right. Well, I was going to say, yes. So, join me and Charlie over in a few days on Avengers Declassified on episode 19. We'll be recording that in a few minutes here. All right. So, next week, we're going to be doing another anniversary special, the 60th anniversary of that college dropout himself, Victor Von Doom.
He had so much potential. That's the saddest part. He could have done so many things, but the man, he's obsessed. He doesn't think his story's the problem. All right. Moving right along.
So send all your Doom thoughts and all your Doom favorite moments or not so favorite moments to CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow Capes and Lunatics on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Find links to all the various social medias for all the Marvel and DC shows we do. Link to the YouTube channel. Again, please subscribe. It's all free. Everything we do goes up there. So smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of it.
Smash it.
And, of course, the Patreon. Please, if you can, subscribe to the Patreon. Every little bit helps. We're paying for this ourselves, but $3 to $5 gets you early access to creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And our superhero movie brackets. We will find the worst superhero movie of all time. We're on the indies now, so subscribe now. Listen to all the episodes before we get to the winner at the end of the year. And, of course, be cool like Charlie Esther. Pick yourself up some Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch. Look, he brought it on the road with him.
Yes. Real aluminium.
Travels well.
It travels amazingly well, family. Yes, and the t-shirt's so comfy and airy.
Yep.
Oh, it's like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing
and
at
he
all.
loves wearing nothing at all. All right, kids. Yeah.
I do. But you got to pay for the Patreon to see that. Kids.
That's right. All right, kids. So, yes, find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. All right, Charlie Esser, where can people find you?
Well, they can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things when I feel like it, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEssessr. Look for the 2 E's in the middle. For what, Phil?
For quality. Bing.
Oh, thank you, Maz, for jumping in there.
All right, kids. Thank you for joining us. Again, next week, that college dropout himself, Victor Von Doom. And always Doom his glory. All right, I should have got a recording of a certain word. But until next time, the 2 of us have been your Capes.
Ampersand.
Lunatics!
You're going to have to go to the archives, Phil.
I know, I should. All I gotta do is go back a week.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Just do that.
That's why I'm here, Philip, to give you the information.
At Charlie Esser, he thinks good, kids.
I got brains.
It's not just beauty, kids. He has brains, too.
I'm the whole package.
Just like that moonstone.
Exactly. I tell you, man, I want to see. Now I want to see Moonstone at the apocalypse of just being just so.
All right,
Thank
kids.
you.
Join us next week. Justice like lightning. Good night.